Talking with Farm Bureau, they first opposed, came out right away opposing splitting of it, understanding that that makes it more difficult to get the non-farm state vote. But now in talking with them, I said, hey, listen, maybe it's time to do that battle, to put food aid, nutrition aid in the appropriations process where it ought to be, where we actually look at, in confines of the entire appropriation spending policy, as opposed to tying it like we used to tie the old Pontiac Silverdome to the ag budget here in Michigan, because it wouldn't pass any other way possible. The only thing you grew in the Silverdome was AstroTurf. And Farm Bureau, it's about time, I think, now to do that battle, to say if we're gonna have policy for production agriculture, which feeds the United States and the world, and there have to be, in order to have sustainable agriculture, there has to be some consideration of how we deal with it in government policy. Let's fight that as a single issue, and then fight the nutrition as a single. So we'll see what happens. It will go on. We've extended the Farm Bill one time already. I don't think that's an appropriate way of doing it. I think we'll have policy. So my vote was there, but the Democrats didn't come through with their vote.
I think we have time for one more question right here in the back.
Mr. Walberg, thank you very much for coming. It's very nice of you.
Thank you
to
for
see you
coming.
here. Much appreciated. I'm wondering if you could help us out here by clarifying your relationship to some campaign funding organizations that we're hearing a certain amount about in the press. So I'm thinking about the American Legislative Exchange Council, which lists you as an alumnus on their website.
Yeah.
And the
They don't fund. They're not a
right. They propose model legislation at the state level. Did you propose any of their bills? Well, that's not really my question.
I'm not in the legislature anymore, but I was a member in good standing of ALEC.
Great.
It was the only bipartisan voluntary legislative organization in the country. I served on the education committee for American Legislative Exchange Council with Jeb Bush and others at that time, but that was back in the 80s and 90s.
And could you also talk about your relationship to Club for Growth and Americans for Prosperity?
Americans for Prosperity is a citizen group that is a conservative citizens group that stands for the most part on the same principles that I espouse: constitutional, limited democracy. I don't find too many problems with Americans for Prosperity, though I don't think I vote 100% with their ideals.
Do you expect to receive extensive funding from them in your upcoming campaign?
No, Americans for Prosperity, I don't believe, is a PAC that gives out funds. Club for Growth, I don't expect to receive anything from them. They supported me in 2 elections. I don't have a 100% voting record with Club for Growth. I don't have a 100% voting record with the United Auto Workers PAC either. I don't have 100% with any PAC, as far as I know. But there are all sorts of groups that are out there that speak for issues, everything from education to agriculture to you name it. So they're...
How can citizens find out who's funding your campaign?
Oh, they can go to the FEC reports.
Okay, great.
I put a quarterly report.
Thank you.
And it'll tell everyone who funds me above $200.
Congressman, when we read the newspapers and we see that Congress has been excused from Medicare, or Obamacare rules, it sets in our minds that we're the serfs and Washington is the lords and the ladies and the princes and the kings. If that continues, I'll tell you, I'm not going to be voting as I voted all my life, which was conservative, Republican. I'm going to change that. It won't be Democratic, so that limits the choices. But we cannot continue to suggest that Washington's better than the rest of the country. Washington works for us, and we won't forget it.
I hope you don't. I hope you don't. I hope you don't, and I hope that's on both sides. The American people, and that's why I don't mind some of the heat that are in rooms like this.
Yeah.
The American people have acquiesced, and I are an American people, We've acquiesced too long and said, I'm too busy with other things or whatever else, let them do it, I'll trust them, I elected them. How's that working out for us?
Being conservative is tough.
How's that working out for us?
No,
Too many conservatives, and I was Tea Party before Tea Party. I ran against a Republican rhino, before they were called rhinos, to take my seat in the State House in 1982. I wasn't a career politician. I never held office in my life. I was a pastor of a local congregation. But I took responsibility on some key issues at that time and ran for office. I served my 16 years in the State House, term limited, left, went back in the private sector for 8 years, and then I was asked to run for Congress. I'm not a career politician. Spent more times in the private sector than in the public sector. I'm there now trying to do my level best work and trying to understand and bring back to people, including school groups, that our government is the people if we enable it to be. We only have ourselves to blame for the government that's in place right now, regardless of where you come on the spectrum. We blame. Don't blame it on the men and women sitting in the seats in Congress. You put us there. Don't blame it on the president. You put him there. Twice. Twice. The malaise we're feeling right now, the loss of jobs, the middle class going away, that's policy as a result of our decision. Now, I'm a Republican because the Republican ideals fit closest to my positions and my understanding of the Constitution. I'd like to call myself a Washingtonian, because George Washington said we should never have political parties, or else it would be demise of this country. I think he's proving himself right. But we've crossed that bridge a long time ago. I can't be a Democrat. I don't believe their principles. So I'm a Republican. I can't stay away from the polls like 3 million people who voted for John McCain but didn't come to the polls last election because Romney wasn't 100%. So how's that working out for your vote or lack of vote now?
Yeah.
If you're a conservative. So, bottom line is, we, the people, take it back. Now, on the issue of Obamacare and Congress not being under Obamacare, that's a lie. We are under Obamacare. That's one of the reasons I'm fighting.
Isn't it a separate set of conditions?
No, it's not at all. Not at
The
all.
Wall Street Journal says,
The Wall Street Journal was inaccurate or incomplete in what they reported, as well as a number of others.
they've reported on this 10 times.
And they reported it wrong 10 times.
So tell us what's right.
Yeah, what is right?
I'm going to tell you what's right. That's why you asked. I've answered every question today, haven't I?
No.
Present situation. Prior to Obamacare being fully implemented, a member of Congress or a staff came under the federal employees benefit package. That means I purchase a portion of my health care, and my employer, like an educator or an auto worker or whatever else, or many companies that provide a portion of insurance, subsidizes to a certain level the insurance of their employee. So it's employee commitment, the employer commitment. That's how we're under right now. OPM, the Office of Personnel Management, had indicated that they possibly might do away with the employer subsidy to federal employees, congressional staff, and members of Congress. They ultimately rescinded that, or didn't go through with it, and said, no, we're going to keep it as status quo. You will go into the exchanges like anyone else, and we'll continue our employer subsidy like General Motors and others will do under Obamacare as well. That was it. Wall Street didn't report that. They reported it as something new. It's not new. I will continue to fight Obamacare because I do not want to be in exchanges. I do not want to ultimately see what I believe this president wanted this bill to do, and it will do. And that is swamp the system. It will fall under its own weight, and we will be in what Joe Biden, Vice President Biden, Nancy Pelosi, and the president said we need a single-payer system.
We
That's
do.
where they're going.
That's exactly.
And at that point, I will be under single payer system as well. And I don't want to be on a single payer system. So,
Not a question, announcement about Silver Maples, would you mind?
That's what I was gonna
Thank you,
announce,
Justin.
Jennifer.
You read your mind,
I know, we're so close together all the time.
Brother.
On Tuesday next week, we'll be here at the evening of civil discourse at Silver Maples. So come on down, there's always a big crowd there, and you'll have the congressman and your state representative and county commissioner all the way down the line. So
and it's an evening of civil discourse, not civil disobedience.
Thanks for coming. Yeah, 6:30 today.
Can I just make a request that you have your open meetings, and the person who works Monday through Friday, they're working right now, can't be here. Could you have meetings on weekends
We do.
when they can?
We have them all different times because we know some people that could be here this morning can't be there in the evening. Some people who could be in the evening could be in the morning. Some people at the noontime.
Overwhelmingly during the working day.
Well, no, it isn't. No, it isn't.
Select.
I can show you my schedule. There's a lot of late hours as a result of town hall meetings at night. There's town hall meetings in the afternoon. We try to switch them up, and we do robocalls for teletown halls as well. So you can sit on at 6:30 to 7:30 on the phone lines and talk with me as well. You know, I have 7 counties in this district. Do you all know what the 7th district consists of? Monroe County, Lenawee, Hillsdale, Branch, Jackson, Eaton, and most of the land space of Washtenaw County, except
Can
for
you tell us who else
Ann
will be at
Arbor,
this meeting?
Eaton, excuse me, Ann Arbor. You have a real challenge with not talking over people, don't you?
Well, you know, you're not letting me finish.
It's difficult. You have this number of people, and you have a lot of questions. But 7 counties, for the most part, except for Ann Arbor, Ypsilanti, Pittsfield Township, Ypsi Township. And we try to get around to the district, and so we do it at all different times of the day. We've been here. I've been under the clock tower for an ice cream coffee, as it were. In the afternoon, we've been here in the morning. We've been here at night when we've had Organizing for America demonstrating at the Four Corners out there against me. We do all sorts of things.
Thanks for coming.
I have
Thank you for coming.
one question. Why are you proposing to slaughter horses? Why are you?
Gee whiz.
No, I'm serious. You know that meat is toxic? No, why do you feel that horses should be slaughtered?
Why do you say I propose to slaughter horses when I can't? I haven't proposed that.
No, you told me your staff told me at the start that you felt.
I don't know, I asked you. The sister of the.
It's the 4th time, the 4th year, they've done a wonderful community forum for our It's nothing that she did wrong.